Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Michael Mastro. I'm with Transformational Vedic Astrology. Today we're going to look at the chart of Mark Zuckerberg and compare it to the stock, Facebook stock. So if you look to the eastern horizon when he was born, you would see the constellation associated with Leo rising at 27 degrees. 27 degrees becomes the most effective point of every house. Any planet like Moon, Mars, even Sun, that are within 5 degrees of that rising sign degree have a lot of impact in the chart. So let's first look and see how the planets are operating. Then we're going to look at and see when they're operating, and then we'll look and see what we could do to remedy the chart. So we know that in Transformation Vedic Astrology, we go by the Multrikona signs, and whatever houses they fall in, that is the area of life that this person will be working on in this lifetime. And so what I mean by Multrikona signs are, for example, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Venus itself is a significator for relationships as well as Libra. So it's more closely aligned with Libra than it is Taurus. So Libra becomes the Multrikona sign. So the Multrikona signs are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. So you have Multrikona sign of Virgo ruled by Mercury in the second house, wealth and fame and stability in relationships working on. Then you have Libra in the third house ruled by Venus working on business and communications, entrepreneurial success. You have Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter in the fifth house working on investments, creativity, children, education. Then we have the 11th sign of Aquarius ruled by Saturn in the house of partnerships. Then we have Aries ruled by Mars in the ninth house of having to do with father, legal issues, good fortune. And then we have the fourth sign of Cancer ruled by Moon in the 12th house. Now any Multrikona sign in the 6th, the 8th, or the 12th, the Dustana or challenging houses becomes malefic. So Moon for a Leo is can cause harm because it's in the 12th house. And then we have the ruler of the sign, the Sun, Leo in the first house, life purpose, longevity, health. So let's look and see how these planets are operating. Sun is at 0 degrees. It's again ruling the house of life purpose, placed in that career house. So any planet that's less than 5 degrees or more than 25 degrees is said to be in infant state or old age, and it cannot protect or promote its own significations. So in this case, Sun, indicator for management, CEO, father, is ruling that house of life, purpose, and health, placed in the career house. So it does give some management skills. Yeah. And then, so the first house and Sun itself rules the eyes. So he's colorblind. And he was born during an eclipse, which also there's some connection to being colorblind. Moon is at, as we said, is functionally malefic. It's at 25 degrees, close to the most effective point, so it has a lot of impact. It rules this 12th house of losses, expenses, foreign lands, and so it it's afflicting Mars also because it's very close. It's conjunct and within 5 degrees, and so it can affect the father's health. Moon and Venus are also conjunct, so it's afflicting Venus as well. And so it can cause some losses of investments in foreign lands. Um, Mars is at 25 degrees. It rules the most. It's close to the most effective point. It is afflicted, as I said. Um, it gives. It's it's ruling this house of good fortune and religion, and uh, it's placed in the house of entrepreneurial success. So it gives some ambition, some drive for entrepreneurial success, some passion for success, but there can be some setbacks here and there. Gives him courage to start something new, starting Facebook. Also, he was very skilled at fencing. Mercury's at 5 degrees. It rules the second house of wealth and reputation and continuation of the marital bond. And it's placed in this house of good fortune. So he has really good communication skills, speaks like 5 languages, very good at business and communication. That's what Facebook is all about. He's an IT prodigy, basically. Jupiter is at 18 degrees. It rules the 5th house of children, education, investments, and creativity. Gives a lot of creativity. Gives good investments. Good education. Harvard degree. Did have some miscarriages and didn't finish his schooling, similar to Bill Gates. So maybe that has to do with retrograde. Venus is at 21 degrees. Again, it's afflicted by Moon. Rules the house of entrepreneurial success. Placed in the house of good fortune. Gives a very strong and supportive wife. Saturn rules the house of partnerships and foreign lands. And it's in the 3rd house of success. Gives success through his partnerships. Rahu and Ketu are at 18 degrees. They are malefic. So Rahu gives ambition for career, strong ambition to succeed in your career. And Ketu is in the house of family. So when this combination of 4th house and 10th house, it means he's learning to balance his work-home life situation. So not to overwork too much and pay good attention to your family, or it can disturb the marriage. So let's look at the timing of events. It's a fixed fire sign, by the way. Fixed, very determined and passionate. So he got married in 2012, and he also started the first stock trade on Facebook is in one day before that. And that was during a Saturn period of partnerships, marriage, partnerships with the public, IPO. He went through a struggling time with Facebook in 2015, and he got some counseling from Steve Jobs, told him to go to India. So he visited an ashram, and Neeb Karoli Baba's ashram, and it was very transformational for him. And let's look at the stock in relationship to his chart. So there was a downward trend. If you look at the actual chart in 2018, there was a peak, and then a valley, and then it went up again, down again, up again. So we're just going to follow those peaks and valleys. So it went down during a K2 afflicting Mars period in the 6th house. So 6th house can cause delays and setbacks. And that was also a period where there was that data breach of some of the personal information got exposed from Facebook users, and he had to testify before the House of Representatives and the Senate, I think. Then there was an up period. when Mars moved out of the 8th house, this seems to be a pattern actually, and when we look at the Facebook stock, we'll see this something similar. Went down again. Let's see, went up again during a K2. Went down again during a K2 Mars period in February of 2020. Up again in May of 2020. Sun was moving out of the 8th house of obstacles. Then it went down again during a Rahu Moon conjunction in September. And it looks like it's going back up again as Mars moves out of the 8th house in his transit chart. Let's look at the Facebook chart. So I think it was the day before he got married. Basically, it went public. It's a Gemini chart, which is very good because there's only Rahu and Ketu are functional malefics. When you look at a stock chart, it's very similar to a personal chart. Sun ruling, it's the house of entrepreneurial success, business communications. Moon is ruling the house of wealth and reputation. Mars gives the income through the software engineering. Mercury is the social connections, that part of it, HR. Jupiter has to do with the partnerships and foreign issues. Venus is the stock itself, investments. Saturn is ruling the 9th house. That has to do with government regulations and legal issues. Rahu and Ketu. Ketu can cause losses. Rahu can affect some conflicts. So let's look at the ups and downs of the stock. Stock went down in 2018. Again, Mars K2 in the 8th house conjunct. K2's afflicting Mars. Mars is your income. It went up again in 2019, February. Sun was moving out of the 8th house. So 8th house is the obstacles. So the Sun here is this, the success, and it's moving out of that house of obstacles. So it gave an upward trend. Then it went down again during another Mars K2 conjunction in February 2020. That's kind of the time of COVID. Then it went back up again in May. Mars was moving out of the 8th house. Mars is income again, so not moving out of that house of obstacles. Then it went down again during in September, early September. Rahu K2 period, and then it went up. It's starting to go back up again towards the end of October, when again Mars is moving out of the 8th house. So you can look at these trends. It's very interesting. So what could we do to remedy Mark's chart? So we have, we want to transform Moon by giving to women. He has a lot of charities, and that's very much helping his chart. He actually donated 99% of the stock, Facebook stock, to help charities. And then you want to strengthen Sun because it's fairly weak at 0 degrees. Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn. You can use gemstones: blue sapphire, yellow sapphire, diamond, green emerald, ruby, or you can just wear a locket called a kavash containing the Devata yantras for those planets. Thank you so much for listening. If you're interested in getting a Vedic astrology reading, you can go to vastucreations.com. And if you are interested in learning Vedic astrology, you can go to American Institute of Vastu.com. Thank you again for listening.